University of Minnesota Alumni Coffee Chat. It's wonderful to see some familiar faces here. So, and I also see some new ones too. So, I'm thrilled to share some exciting updates from campus this fall. But Bailey Hall is going to be buzzing with activity that's packed with students from a diverse group of studies this year. The St. Paul Student Center will transform significantly, and we'll learn more of that from our guest speakers a little bit later. One of the most significant changes or challenges on the horizon is the restructuring of the state FFA convention to better accommodate the growing participation of FFA and the needs that they have. Convention is going to be split into two different places this year. One in St. Cloud in December, and then back on the Twin Cities campus in April. Hopefully this will give more students a richer experience from their FFA. As a high school principal, I cannot stress how vital and important the support and nurturing of our next teachers are. And so I really want to encourage you to participate as an alumni and really get out there and try to do some of the recruiting and tell people the benefits of teaching and the teaching profession. We have a lot of the students who are in ag ed, but they are not necessarily in the teaching program, or they decide to do something besides teaching. And it gets to be challenging to find some of those really good ag teachers that we're looking for. So let's work together to support these students that are out there and making sure that ag education is really good. So let's enjoy our time together and with each other and some camaraderie. What we're going to do right now is we're going to split off into some groups. And in these groups, there are going to be 3 to 4 people. And if you could share your grad year alum and where you're from and what's your favorite state fair food. I think that would be a great way. We're just going to take a couple of minutes just to sort of get to know some of the people who are here with us.
All right, I'm going to open the rooms, and so you should be invited to go to a room. If you have any issues, let us know. You'll get a 1-minute warning to come back.
I don't know about all your rooms, but now I'm hungry. Good fair food conversation. All right. Well, hopefully you had an opportunity to connect with some familiar faces and get to know some new ones, perhaps. We are going to move into connecting with one of our new faces in CFANS. Well, not really new to CFANS, but new to her leadership role in CFANS. And that's Dr. Julie Grossman. Julie, I've worked with her in her previous role from her horticulture program connections for years through some DEI work that we have done here in CFANS, but she was recently named the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs and started that role this spring. So an honor to bring her here to connect with our ag ed supporters and alum to share a little bit about her role, and kind of where CFANS is and what are some of the things we can look forward to as folks who really care deeply and passionately about CFANS. So Julie, I'll turn it over to you. I'll be your Vanna, so let me know if I'm not advancing slides appropriately.
Thank you, Amy. So I thought hi everybody, and thanks for being here. I thought I'd kick this off with just a little bit of information about me and where I'm coming from. Amy, you said you had the slides, correct?
I do, only I forgot that I had to reshare them because it was showing on my screen, but after we did the breakout rooms, I had to reshare. There we go. Now
That's
you're
great. I
here.
thought maybe I'm the only one that's not seeing it. Yeah, so
Nope.
can you go ahead into move to the next one? Oh, okay, you changed the first one. That's okay. So I wanted to just share a little bit about my background before we get started. I'm also an alum of the University of Minnesota. I did my PhD, master's and PhD here in soil science, and then PhD in agronomy, finishing in 2003. And then I went away for about 11 years, including a faculty position for about 8 years at NC State in North Carolina. And I used to joke with my family, like the only institution that could ever move me away from NC State was going back to the U. And lo and behold, I got an opportunity to come back. And so I've been back here since 2014, where I've been faculty in horticulture, as Amy mentioned. And I'm a soil scientist, so I work primarily with vegetable production, and specifically with organic agriculture. And then moved into this role as Associate Dean of Undergrad Programs in March. So I am brand new and really, really excited to be in this role. Next slide, please. So today I'm just going to give brief updates on three main things. One is a quickie. It's just an enrollment update on how many students we're bringing in and where we stand now. They're not finalized yet, but this will give you an idea of what it's looking like. And then this is exciting because it's literally hot off the presses. I received the permission to share some slides showing pictures of the proposed model for the St. Paul Campus Student Center. So we'll show you some photos of what that might look like and a timeline for its construction. And then finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about one of my personal goals and something I'd like to do in the college, which is to develop a first year experience for all new students coming in to CFANS. Next slide, please. Okay, great. So the enrollment update, we are currently projected to have about 360 new high school students joining us this fall. The new numbers won't be finalized until the semester starts because there's always a few that decide they're not going to come this year, et cetera. But that's where we stand right now. And we have about, this has been updated a little bit, about 90 students that will come in from other colleges that are already at the U or transferring from other institutions. So as many of you know, CFANS is largely a discovery college. So students come in kind of not sure what they want to do, where they want to go, and they often find CFANS and move in later in their program. So we're excited about potential growth. The 360 is a little shy of where I'd like to be. I'd really like to have 400 or above per class coming in. So that's something we're going to work on over the next few years. But this is where we stand right now at around 350, 360. Next slide, please. All right, here we go. So St. Paul Student Center. I know many of you are interested in this topic. I'm really, really interested in this topic. I see this space as being something that can be a hub for our campus and really increase the vibrancy of it. We all know that students are not that excited about the current center as a gathering space. And so there's been a lot of work done in the past couple of years to help think about what are the opportunities that a new student center could have, what might it look like, what are the challenges to making this a reality. And just last week, we heard from some of the planners and the architects who have been working on this for the past year. And the plans that they shared with us are really exciting. The new space is going to have coffee, hopefully a coffee shop. I heard the word caribou, so we'll see if that actually comes to be. It will have dining opportunities, and the vendor has yet to be identified for that. But I think most exciting is this idea of having student-focused spaces in the building. So it'll have a lot of study spaces. You'll see in a minute, it's going to be combined with the library services in one building. It will actually occupy the site of the McGraw Library. And it will also have spaces that for multicultural groups, clubs, et cetera. So it looks like it's going to be a really nice place for students to gather. But I think the highlight for me of this whole proposed model was the development of what I think of as a farm store. So a retail outlet in the building that's going to highlight University of Minnesota products. So this would be like the meat and cheese and ice cream. It's sold at the store right now, University of Minnesota honey, et cetera. So I think that has a lot of great opportunities for our students to work to promote what they're making in their program. So that's really, really exciting. Sustainability will be key. They're talking about things like having solar, a green roof on the structure. And I have opening summer 2028. However, I heard the other day that it's maybe 27. So I think that has yet to be decided based on tearing down the old buildings and building the new one and how long that would take. I think construction was scheduled to take about 2 years, and we'll see where we land, either 27 or 28. Next slide, please. And here's where it will be. So you see that yellow star right there. This is, again, the current site of the McGraw Library, which will be demolished, and the new building constructed in its place. The old student center will be torn down. You see there's nothing in that space right now. And my understanding is that has yet to be decided what will happen with that current space next to Bailey Hall. Next slide, please. Okay, this is it. You know, architects love glass. And so they've constructed this building and the pre-design of it to have a number of features that involve glass and making it a really light-filled, welcoming space. We're looking right now down Buford. So you're looking kind of towards on the left-hand side where the library is, looking down towards where the current student center is located. Next slide. And this is the view from behind. The space was also designed to have a lot of outdoor event space. So if a student club wanted to have an event on campus, they would have indoor facilities, including a 500-person auditorium for larger events that would open up directly onto this green space. So again, we're kind of behind the building right now with vet med buildings behind us, looking towards the back of the building. So it will take some of that current green space and turn it into more of a space where events can be held that connect directly to the building. Okay, so I'm gonna make this kind of quick, like a quick overview, hoping to have some discussion in the end of my slides with all of you. The third feature of what I'd like to do is to develop a first-year experience for CFAN students. So a lot of people think about first-year experiences as being something like a week in the woods, you know, doing something out backpacking or hiking or camping. And so our model that we're thinking about now is going to look a little different from that, where we're hoping to have a series of courses, like a menu of options that students can choose from as they're coming into CFANs, that are based on, not necessarily tied to a major, but based on the themes of the major, where they might be exploring different grand challenges or global challenges through the lens of various majors and various programs. Next slide, please. So why do this now? Well, as we know, CFAN students are the change makers at the university. In my eyes, they're the ones, and data backs this up, that are really thinking about careers that where they want to make a difference in the world. They want to have careers that solve global challenges. They want to have careers where they're taking the information they have and transferring it to others, perhaps through teaching and education, like I know all of you are doing right now, and thinking about how to take the interests in sustainability or environmental conservation, natural resources, and agriculture, and helping to make a difference in those fields. And most colleges in the University of Minnesota already have something that they call a first-year experience. One example might be the College of Biological Sciences, and they have something called the Nature of Life, where all students go up to the Itasca Biological Station for a few days. They are learning about the college and what their program is going to look like. But I think more importantly, they're getting to know each other. They're building that community through their experiences that they have up at Itasca. And so we're looking to do something like that, that yes, is going to bring standardized information to all incoming CPAN students, but also help them feel like they're a part of something larger. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is my last slide, and then we can open it up to discussion of any of these things I've presented today. This first year experience would have three main features to it. One is that they would all have what we're calling high impact experiences. So this would be something more than just a field trip, something where maybe you're spending a night out in a community, or you have a sustained community engaged experience throughout that course. So things that are really helping students get off campus, get out into the communities where they're discussing various topics of importance in the classroom and practicing or experiencing that out of the classroom. And again, we'd have these like a menu of we're thinking 15 to 16 sections of this first year experience. We try to really keep the number of students per class or per section to about 20, so we can encourage that community building and engagement that we're hoping to have be an outcome of these courses. And the second feature, in addition to these high impact experiences, would be leadership. So thinking about training students early in the what it looks like to be a leader, what it looks like to apply your leadership skills during college. So learning it early and then being able to apply it for the next 3 years or 3.5 years of your experience here in CFANS. And finally, as we mentioned, there's this CFANS focused content where these different sections would all have a different theme that are related to areas in which a student that is attracted to CFANS might be interested in making change. Whether that be agricultural production through growing of sustainable grains that can be used in beer, agricultural programs and food security in cities. So a whole variety of courses that could be appealing to not just one major, but maybe integrate different hopes and experience, like desires of different students that come into CFANS, and maybe they're not sure what they want to do, but they kind of know where the kind of change they'd want to make or the kind of career they'd like to have at the end of the day. So this is just in its early phases. We're just putting the ideas together now, and hopefully this will be something that'll happen in a small way in the end of our starting classes in 2025, where we're hoping to offer 2 or 3 new classes and then evolve in coming years into having those 15 to 16 courses or sections that we'll have at the end of the day. So with that, I know that's a whirlwind, but I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions and discussions, which I'm happy to do now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. I'll go ahead and stop sharing for a bit. So if folks would like to unmute and ask some questions of Julie or type it into the chat, we can certainly entertain that. But I appreciate you sharing a bit more of this. And I was geeking out with some of the pictures. So it's a good thing you told me when to advance the slides, because I was like, okay, but how's this situated?
I have a question. It seems I'm in South Dakota and U of M grad, but I am finding, or I'm hearing from local tech schools who have good horticulture programs, that you really need to focus on the elementary level kids to get them interested in ag careers. And one of the instructors said, if you wait till they're in high school, it's too late. So what do you see in terms of hitting, elementary school kids earlier with ag initiatives to get them interested at a younger age?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we have, if we're thinking about that idea of CFANS being a discovery college, a lot of people come into CFANS later in their college careers because they don't find out about it earlier, right? So thinking about how we get students interested in middle and early high school years is something I'm thinking a lot about. we've been considering and hopefully we'll be able to hire an outreach coordinator that will serve those populations. So not grade school, but initially focusing on middle school and early high school, trying to network together all of the existing programs that we currently have in CFANS, where there might be faculty that are carrying out research on high school campuses or middle school campuses that is agriculturally related. They go give a talk to those students, and then we're able to help track those students and figure out, well, maybe there's a way that we can bring them to CFANS, inform them about what we are and what they'd be studying here, and kind of find them earlier than we've been doing in recent years. Because I fully agree, that's really important.
And they're talking elementary level. So as a master gardener for SDSU and formerly for U of M, I've been trying to get into some of the elementary schools. We have Sioux Falls Christian here, which is K through 12, and they have a extraordinary horticulture program at the senior high level, which would be great. Do you have any suggestions for how you can approach schools with a thought or idea of, bringing in information about like gardening or things like that? Usually people are really interested in that topic in the summer, and that's when kids are out of school. And I've approached a couple other schools, like in January, and they're just not thinking gardening till something is growing. So it would be nice to get, and I know the Arboretum does things with young kids to get them going. We have an Arboretum here. It's pretty small, but just looking for ways to how to approach school districts, to get, even a fun day working with teachers, getting kids involved in agriculture. I mean, we're a big beef state, agriculture state. So it would be, helpful to know how to approach these school districts, because it seems like, even in Minnesota, they weren't interested in ag. And they're a little more interested out here, but it's like, I don't know who to contact. You contact the administrators and you never hear from them again. And so
Joanne, I think those are great questions, and there's a whole team of us that are passionate about that. So I'm happy to follow up with you. Ag in the Classroom is a great resource regardless what state you're in. Minnesota is fantastic. I would actually say Minnesota across grades 5 through 12 for sure, but even at the lower levels has a real strong interest in ag food, natural resources, especially now, like we're seeing the development of more and more ag ed programs. And so I think there's a ton of opportunity for that, but I'm happy to follow up with you at a later point too. Thanks for the question.
Thanks, Amy.
Any other questions for Julie before we transition and hear from Tracy?
So one thing I'd like to confirm, I see Terry mentioned this about Bailey Hall. Bailey Hall is going to remain. There's no changes, including the dining. There was, when the student center was first, the renewed student center was proposed, there was talk of the dining being relocated to the new student center. However, because of the move to the student center in a new location, the dining in Bailey as well as the housing in Bailey will remain for now.
I'm sorry,
Awesome.
I didn't hear the response. I got cut off and I had to call back in.
Yep, I noticed that. I dropped a message in the chat to everyone, but I would be happy to follow up with you offline, because I think there's lots of resources we can explore.
Okay,
all right. Yep, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Julie, and hopefully we'll have some additional time for conversation at the end if you're able to stay on with us. I'd like to introduce our next person to share some remarks, and that's Tracy Limbo. She was the president of the CFANS Alumni Society Board last year, and I'm one of the faculty representatives on that. And I just love her fierce passion and enthusiasm for all things CFANS and recruitment and outreach and so forth. She's been really engaged in some St. Paul campus identity work. And I think a lot of that really connects with what Dr. Grossman had shared in terms of the student center and the future plans for reinvigorating kind of the CFANS St. Paul campus. So I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to share a little bit about her experiences and maybe some opportunities for engagement.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. And you can take the picture down if you'd like, and then I can see a little bit more of the group too. Awesome. Thank you. So thanks so much for having me again. I'm Tracy Limbo. I'm a 94 grad, applied economics and agronomy, but a huge friend, I would say, of AgVend. One of the things that I shared with the group in our breakout is whenever I've had interns throughout my career, and they always ask, what classes should I take? I've always been really clear to be sure that they take an ag ed class, because most of the time when you're doing selling and marketing, selling to actual sell or selling to your superiors, you're teaching people about things. And so I think it's a super important piece of a student's career as they're going through that journey. As Amy mentioned, past president of the Alumni Society Board, so current past president is part of the exec team. And we started about 2 years ago, I would say, working on how we look at the St. Paul campus. I moved away from the state for 18 years. And when I came back about 4.5 years ago, Mary tapped me to say, hey, do you want to get involved with the board? And it was a great way for me to get back engaged with CFANS after being out of the state for so long. But one of the things that I really noticed when I was back is when we've gotten lumped into the Minneapolis, the Twin Cities campus, St. Paul has kind of lost its identity, and it's lost this really great way to market the gem that it really is. And so we got a small group together, including Amy and Mary, and some other alumni members and some other alumni on the board. We said, what can we do to help to revitalize and rejuvenate what the St. Paul campus is? We are definitely noticing that we were losing students to Iowa State and to SDSU, River Falls, North Dakota. And even as I was interviewing students to come work for us at whatever company I was at, there were some really great Minnesota kids that were coming via some of these other schools. And so we've joined together with another group from St. Paul called the Greek Alliance. They're changing a little bit of their name, but it's really a group of alumni from the Greek houses on campus who have also been very passionate about trying to look at ways that we can revitalize the campus. And so together, we've been looking at a few different areas, but what we really got excited about was when Dr. Grossman came and she presented some thoughts to us, and we hadn't even met with her yet. And it was a lot of the same ideas that we had about what are some simple things we can do. There's obviously big things that need to happen, and Dr. Grossman just went through that with you on the facilities and being able to do some of the things that we need to do with legislative outreach, with the regents. But there's also some smaller things that we can do just to make sure that the St. Paul campus is top of mind for students as they're thinking about where they want to go. And I love the conversation that we just had there around it isn't just the high school students, it's the younger students. And so we've been trying to really think about, as we've been interviewing and gathering our feedback about where we should put our energy. So today, with some of the things already going on with the facilities, where our group is focusing our time is really in a couple of areas. One is around the St. Paul campus tours. So we're working on trying to work with the current staff, I guess I would say, Mary, if that's the right word, who is doing the tours. And right now today, it's kind of difficult to get just a St. Paul campus tour, kind of gets lumped in with Minneapolis, and trying to find some ways that maybe someone could do virtual tours, or they could do a self-guided tour, or they would be able to get a St. Paul campus only tour. And so really trying to look into some of those types of things to bring forward a plan and a proposal that we could help change those tours up a little bit. The second piece of it, actually, for me, is a question I have for this group, which is why I was excited to talk with you, is we really want to start to do more outreach from the university, the CFANS, the St. Paul campus area out to mostly high schools, thinking about some of the elementary areas. But Julie has been working in this space around using ag ambassadors. And back when I was in college, we had the opportunity, I was an ambassador who got to go out and meet with the high schools, the ag ed programs. And so what we're looking at trying to come forward with the proposal to be able to take students that are on the campus, to be able to connect them with an alumni that's out in the greater Minnesota area or the Twin Cities, where they can go in and meet with high school ag ed classes, FFA groups, 4-H groups, and other groups that we could be potentially talking to get them interested in the St. Paul campus and do a little bit more proactive outreach. And so I would love to share or get some ideas from this group of how we might do some of that outreach and how we might have some impact so that we can be a little bit more proactive instead of waiting for the students to try to figure out that the St. Paul campus exists. I think one of the things we've been looking at is the fact that we are losing a lot of ag ed teachers from CFANs getting their education elsewhere. And so as an ag ed teacher, you're probably going to want to promote your students to go to SDSU where you went or Iowa State where you went. And so we want to give them the tools and the resources and the confidence in sending them to the St. Paul campus. So those are a lot of the things that we're working on, and I'm going to be tapping some of you. But if any of you have interest in being involved, want to provide some ideas, please, Amy had my contact information up there. I would be glad to contact and connect with any of you and have that discussion. And we're kind of just getting started, so there'll be plenty of opportunities to do that. But Amy, I'm also open now. I know you're tight on your time too, but glad to talk about it at all or have a follow-up after this.
No, I think if anyone has immediate thoughts or comments or questions for Tracy, I'd love to entertain them.
I just had one of the things I heard you say were these St. Paul campus virtual tours. I think that's a fantastic idea. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be the same alumni who's giving the tours throughout campus. It could be different people at different locations doing just a little bit. I really like that idea.
Nice. Thank you.
I think that's key because so often, I mean, I have said this, if I had to give students a tour of the Minneapolis campus, it would not be very in-depth or knowledgeable because that's not my sweet spot. But I could handle doing that over here, right? And so I think it is tapping into people who are passionate to share their passion so that students can see that and parents can too. All right, well, thank you so much, Tracy and Julie, for sharing a bit on those exciting pieces. And I think that's one thing that we hope that this group can help us with is sharing the message of exciting things and challenges and helping us respond to those. So it's exciting to bring these faces to you and make that introduction, but let's keep conversation going offline afterwards. So I have the privilege of serving as a program leader for the Ag Ed side of the AECM house. And I really want to spend just a tiny bit of time highlighting some awesome things that really our grads have accomplished. We've got lots of exciting things going on campus. Dr. Rice and I and I almost just gave Lee Thompson an honorary doctorate, I guess. So Mr. Thompson are busy getting our fall classes ready to go. But we have really been excited to see some of the great things that our grads have done. And just recently we had the MAAE conference, so Minnesota Association of Ag Educators. Many of you were there. But these are just some of the U of M Ag Ed connections that were recognized there. So Natalie Resch from Pipestone got the Teacher Turn the Key. So it's a young teacher. MAAE Outstanding Teacher Mentor was Denise Reeser. She was a grad of here. 2 of the 3 teachers at Eden Valley Watkins are U of M grads, Tyler Warren and Tracy Hune, and then Stacy Fritz from Chatfield is a U of M grad as well, was recognized as the Outstanding Ag Ed teacher. We also had Brad Slesher, a grad of our program, was recognized as the Outstanding Service and Cooperation Award. He is currently the director for the Minnesota Ag and Rural Leaders Program, MARL, so that's kind of an exciting connection to have with an alum. And then our very own Mr. Thompson was recognized for 45 years of service to ag education, many of those at the high school level teaching at Goodhue. But then he's been with us for about 10 years teaching ag mechanics courses and just doing a fantastic job. Recently got a MEAL-C grant and some additional funding to really advance our ag mechanics power structure technical facilities. We'll be getting all new welders. We'll be getting a bunch of new technology, and I'm super excited to see that kind of space transform. So stay tuned for tours of that space and ways for us to engage with teachers. Often we get that, I don't know, that parental pride, seeing our grads do great things, right? So award winners. We also see our grads really stepping into leadership positions in ag education and beyond, right? Serving Minnesota Ag Ed in a lot of different ways, and Minnesota Ag Food Natural Resources. This list is just some of the grads of our program that are currently involved as MAAE officers. Not everyone pictured in the picture are folks who came to the U of M, but all of those are also serving as MAAE officers. And then some new faces. Mike mentioned just some shifts in FFA timeline and schedule and those types of things. So we have had some vacancies and some new positions and some shifting, but super excited to have Natasha Mortensen on as the FFA Career Development Event Specialist. She's been with us, I don't know, probably 6 months now, maybe. And Dr. TJ Brown just was announced recently as the new FFA Executive Director. And keeping it in the family, which is also very exciting. We've got a powerhouse family. Mountain Lake tends to just have this amazing leadership potential coming from there, I guess. But Lindsay Brockberg, TJ's sister, if you didn't make that connection, is our new MDE AFNR specialist. And both of them have really strong roots. Tom Apple was their advisor or co-teacher. And so really have a lot of ag ed legacy and history. So we're excited to see each of these U of M grads in their leadership roles. Just some dates to know. September 19th is National Teach Ag Day. We'll be doing some activities and connecting with other institutions, maybe to do some new things. Sarah Lee is a grad of our program who just started as, I'm going to butcher her title, but essentially recruitment and outreach at Southwest Minnesota State University. But she'll still wearing that maroon and gold, and she's going to hopefully be working with us on some of the Change Lives Teach Ag efforts and some of the more holistic ag ed recruitment. We'll host an invitational on October 9th. It's going to look a little different due to the FFA timeline and shifts of those LDEs and CDEs, but we're trying to figure out what we can host in terms of space, since that's a classroom day. And we're going to try to blend some of the things that have historically been at the winter invitational to host also at that fall invitational. And then I know this feels like it's a long ways away, but it will be here before we know it. We have the AECM Student Showcase, and that will be December 5th. So towards the end of the semester, you'll get to see some of the awesome things that our students are up to. Ultimately, we want to be the place that you send your students, that your kiddos want to come to. And so we are more than willing to get out and visit you. We also are working on some ambassador programming like we had last year. So please reach out if there's things that we can do for you. Now a fun part. You get to hear from one of our actual students. Tabor Sheldrip transferred to the U of M a year ago from South Central College and was a student of Ethan Dato's at Mankato for 1 year when Ethan began that program several years ago. So he'll be entering his senior year this year, and this summer has served as a MEAL-C summer intern. So we asked him to share a little bit about like his ag ed journey, what this summer has looked like, and some of the things that he's excited about. So Tabor, I will turn it to you, and I'll be your Vanna for advancing slides.
All right. So hi, my name's Tabor Sheldrip. I'm from Mankato, and this summer I got to intern at Lake Crystal Welcome Memorial High School. So about 15 minutes south of me, which is always cool because I used to live in Lake Crystal, so kind of knew the area a lot, knew some of the kids' families. But so I put together a little slideshow of some highlights of my internship experience. So I got to finish out the last 2 weeks of high school with them. So it was like a mini student teaching experience, which is really great for me. And they kind of just let me take things over. So first day, we actually butchered chickens in animal science. they'd been raising them, and so we got to butcher, and I taught all the kids how to do it, and then we made fajitas for lunch the next hour. And that was a really fun thing. That was definitely a highlight. And then every year, they've been putting on an elementary petting zoo. And so they get a lot of kids to bring their animals, and they bring the gates from the county fair over. And so the kids just love it. And we get a lot of young animals for them to pet, and super fun. And then one of my projects was planning the officer retreat, and we went to Bryceland, Minnesota, at a summer camp, and rented cabins there, and had to visit Blue Earth, Jolly Green Giant. Um, but it was a really good experience for me to see all the work that brings, and planning that, and then I put together all the officer manuals, and then tried to like plan out the year with them. But it was really fun actually. And then another thing Lake Crystal does with the community is the Lake Crystal cruise-ins, um, which I'd always been going to since I was a kid. And I'm a big car guy, so I always knew the FFA stand has had, they sell pork chops on a stick, and they've been doing that for about 4 years now. And it's a really good activity for a lot of the officers come, and then also a lot of the other kids volunteer their time, and it's just so fun, and everybody likes to get the FFA pork chops. And then another thing I did was prepare for the county fair, Blue Earth County Fair. um, Nothing really special. It's pretty small county fair, but we've always had the FFA barn, and due to all the flooding, the water was up to the rafters in the FFA barn. So it was pretty crazy. So we had to do a lot of prepare for that, and then um, it was a success. It was fun. And then one thing the FFA does is they help with a summer program called Fit Kids, which watches kids throughout the summer, in elementary ages, so 5 through 10, um, or 11. And there's an emphasis on being healthy there. And so we come in like every other week, and we do an activity. So I've been planning the activities and doing them, and there's some funny pictures with the kids.
All right,
Yeah.
so that was the extent of Tabor's slides, but Tabor, you want to talk a little bit about maybe what the next year looks like for you and what you're excited about, things
Yeah.
like that?
So I will be student teaching in the spring at Royalton. Super excited for that. I can't wait. And I'm just really excited to come back to school after this internship. It's really just made me so excited to teach. Not something that I felt before that, but I'm super ready.
Awesome. Well, we are super glad that you chose to come here. Tabor is a great example of someone who really figured out what he wanted and then has worked to make that happen. Sometimes being one of a few in the transfer process, that's a little challenging, but Tabor has navigated that and leveraged some resources and really made the most of it. One of the things I love seeing about these MEALC summer interns, when we have students do field experience, and they do 25 hours of field experience associated with 4 classes before they ever student teach. So they've seen probably 10 to 12 different ag ed programs across the state of Minnesota, which is great because they're able to compare and contrast single teacher, multi-teacher, urban, rural, suburban, all the different types of focus areas, classes, et cetera. But the one thing they don't get to see during the academic year always is that depth of FFA and SAE engagement. And so often when you hear about the things that Tabor's done this summer and some of the other things that MEALC students, MEALC interns are able to do, they really come into the fall before they student teach with that knowledge of more of the integrated program model, which we want our graduates to be prepared for. So that's super exciting. And I'm glad that Tabor was able to share his experience. As we transition, are there any questions for Tabor? Awesome. Tabor, thanks again for making this work. I know you've had a very
Yeah.
busy summer, but we sure appreciate it.
Of course.
Dr. Rice, I'm going to turn it to you.
Hello, all. I'm going to make this quick because I know we're running out of time. But the one thing that really excites me as we sit here and we listen to those of leadership in CFANS and those associated with our program is how we actually really truly do meet the mission of CFANS, which is to inspire minds, nourish people, and enhance the natural environment. And I just love what we're doing and what our kids are doing and our students are doing. And so just looking forward to this upcoming year and really looking forward to co-leading the AECM club again, where a lot of our students are engaging with industry folks and doing things within their majors, professional development to advance personally and professionally. I think we can advance the next slide to that. And that's our executive team. They are all doing good things this summer, having great internships. Spoke with Hallie Frandrup just recently. She's actually taking the lead on doing some National Teach Ag Day planning event for the events that we're hopefully going to have and invite people across CFANS and especially our Ag Ed major. But really proud of these folks and the leadership that they're taking. The AECM Club holds a very important role at the Minnesota State Fair. They are in charge of finding volunteers and volunteering themselves for the all-you-can-drink milk stand. I've never been to the Minnesota State Fair, but this is my first time this year, and my son and I are working the milk stand booth, so we're excited to be a part of that and show our support for the club, but also experience the State Fair. If you are interested in being a volunteer, you can certainly sign up and help be at the booth. And you will get tickets and a hat and a shirt and just enjoy all you can drink milk and engage with other folks of AECM Club. So that's all I have. We're gonna send it back over to Mary, and I'll post the link in the chat for those that maybe have not signed up to volunteer yet. Mary?
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dr. Rice.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so glad to have so many of you here today to get caught up on what's happening in the world of Ag Ed. I just have a few things that I want to share with you about opportunities that are coming up for you to engage more broadly in CFANS. So the first thing, since we talked about the State Fair, I'm assuming everyone's planning to be at the State Fair. And if you haven't been to the CFANS exhibit in the Ag Hort building, I encourage you to stop by. If you have not, all of you should have received the Connections newsletter that featured Solomon David, who's our GAR researcher. And a fun side story, he read about GAR in a Ranger Rick magazine, and years later, he was featured in a Ranger Rick magazine. And his work with GAR is going to be featured with the VR goggles at the State Fair. So please plan to stop by, and alums will get a special gift when you stop by too, to let us know that you're alums. And if there's anybody, alums and friends, that is not receiving the Connections newsletter, please let me know. So looking forward to seeing you at the State Fair. And fun fact, thank you to Val Arsvold and Natasha Mortensen. In addition to the pop-up education sessions in the Ag Hort building, CFANS faculty, staff, and students will be featured at Christensen Farm Stage this year. Everything from Kernza to Minnesota Youth Institute and a lot of things in between. So check out that schedule. Then coming up on Saturday, September 21st is Ag and Food Day. Usually Ag and Food Day is against the non-conference team. This year we're playing University of Iowa, so it's for sure going to be a sold out game. If you want to go and you want tickets, I can hook you up with discounted tickets in the CFANS section. Should be a great day. Hope to see you there. And then finally, just wanted to give a shout out to the homecoming event, which is coming up on October 25th and 6th. We'll have the CFANS sampler where you can sample ice cream, cheese, meat, pea protein, Kernza crackers, and all kinds of cool things prior to the parade and then the game on Saturday, the 26th. So last thing, sign up to be a volunteer, sign up to be a mentor, come join us. Thank you for being here today. On to the next.
I think I get to go with just a couple of parting comments real quickly. For those of you who are joining for the first time, thank you so much. For those of you who have been with us for many of the 9 Ag Ed Alumni Connectors, thank you so much. I get excited every time I hear our faculty and staff talk about the program. I get excited when I hear from students, but I have to tell you, I think that this was one of the most exciting coffee connectors when I think about the investment that's being made into the St. Paul campus, the commitment from the CFANS faculty and staff to really positioning the college for tremendous growth and student engagement opportunities. And I'm appreciative and in awe of what's happening for our Ag Ed specific students through the faculty and staff. As I think about the hour that we spent together, I would ask that all of us think of one way that we are going to commit to helping advance what's happening at the University of Minnesota, St. Paul campus, CFANS, Ag Ed. You know, there's this beautiful quote, we rise by lifting others. And so if we all commit to doing one thing, can you imagine the growth and the support that our students and faculty will have as we position ourselves for more quality teachers coming through the Ag Ed department on the U of M Twin Cities campus, specifically St. Paul. When I'm not passionate about helping out in what I called myself an Ag Ed enthusiast there, I have a job that works with FFA and the foundation specific. And so I'd be not doing my job if I didn't say, if you haven't gotten the specialized agricultural license plate, please do so. Join the thousands of Minnesotans who are doing that and are helping to raise support for FFA and 4-H programs. What better way to inspire young people to go into careers of agriculture, food, and natural resource sciences than to come through some of our student organizations such as FFA and 4-H. If I can ever be of resource, please let me know, but kudos to everybody who is pouring themselves into this program. But again, I'll go back to a challenge. What is that one thing each of us can do, whether it's an attendant event, direct a student there, answer questions, share the enthusiasm of what we just heard for our campus, and share that with others. That would be a goal that I would love for all of us to embrace. So thank you so much. Mike, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, I just amazed at all the information we got here today, and I really appreciated all of you for coming and being part of this. And again, want to encourage you to get involved. And what is that one thing that you can do to help ag education here in Minnesota? So I want to thank again Dr. Grossman, Tracy Libdo, Taylor Sheldrup, Dr. Smith, Dr. Rice for your work, Mary for leading us through this today, Val for your comments at the end. And thank you everybody for joining us. And I hope that you had a really meaningful time. So have a great day.
Thank you so much.